Work smart,
Calm
not
before the
hard.
storm and all that. Whatever comes of this, I'm just real glad to know you all.
Me too. Alright. Was the last red one the bad guy up here? What are we looking for? That door's
Captain,
sealed. Oh.
you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life.
Hey,
You've
how's it
been
going?
working with Dr. Wells from the beginning. When we moved to arrest him, he was prepared. I lost good soldiers in the attempt. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty.
We're liberating Halcyon, and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop us. Or, wow, when you put it that way, I sound pretty awesome.
Typical. Running your mouth in the middle of a crisis. It's almost as if you delight in chaos.
Sounds fun.
My report said you were simple-minded. I simply never imagined you'd be stupid enough to throw the entire system into chaos.
Chaos
I
is what
should
the
have
system
dealt with you
needs.
a long time ago. You were always too dangerous to leave unchecked.
Can we hurry it along? I've got a colony to save. Ah, stop, you're making me blush. You're all bluster and empty threats. Ah, stop, you're making me
I
blush.
suppose I shouldn't be surprised by your impertinence. Leaving you alive was my greatest mistake. But it is a mistake I intend to correct.
So what's the
I
plan
have
here?
Dr. Wells in my custody.
I don't
Once
really
I've
care,
secured his cooperation,
but
I
I
can
guess I
move
should save
forward
him.
with the program. I can repair the damage you've done. I can set things right.
Bad for your health. You don't understand. Phoenix is my friend. I'm not leaving without him. I don't enjoy the thought of killing you. There's been enough violence already. None of these seem like the answers I really want to commit on. I want to say it's bad for your health, but if we can do it without violence, but I still want to save Phineas. But he's not really my friend. But I'm not leaving without him. Don't test me, Sophie.
I'm
It's
aware
bad
of
for your
your
health.
propensity for violence. Halcyon is a bloodier place because of you. I take no pleasure in this, you know. I simply have no other option.
Sure you do.
Leaving you alive is too great a risk. Goodbye, Captain.
Worst, just psychopath. I'm rescuing Phineas, and I'm going through you if I have to.
I had a feeling you'd say that. This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you on sight and rinse your remains down a drain.
Boss?
And don't worry. I will inform Dr. Wells that you died heroically, or something.
Alright. Well then. Time to blast a bitch. That guy? I see. There's plenty of cover I can run around. Alright. There's some explosives. Lead him towards those. Maybe not a piece of cake, but I should be able to get him in a couple tries. I wonder if it'd be better to use the other weapon. Here goes nothing. Alright. Ram. Just remember, I have to try to find cover. I have to try to shoot him with the charged shot, and maybe guide him towards some of the explosives. And maybe see if that N wave does anything to machines the same way it does to people. I'd like more of an explanation on that N wave. I didn't read anything in the game that really explained it very clearly. Similarly, it converts people into piles of dust, but instead of burning them like the plasma weapon, it seems to maybe deatomize them? Is that what's going on? Alright, let's get out this guy. Here we go. You don't see me. Nice. You just try it. You can't get me. I might change the weapon just to see what if that damage does anything. Ooh, what's getting me now? Oh shit. I didn't realize he had backup. Fuck. Oh shit. Ah! I can't aim when I'm jumping like that. Fuck. Should bring out the hammer for these fuckers. Alright, drink. Oh, here he comes. How are my partners doing? Okay, I can de-aggravate him.
Here we go. Laser uses on him.
Alright. Shit. Oops. Oh shit. Oh shit. Run. Oh my god. Shoot. Oh shit. I'm not doing bad. I'm not doing too bad. Whew. A couple more shots should get him. I'm holding my own against the drones, at least. I'm not usually good at multiple enemies, especially first-person shooting. No. Aim. That. Burn. Maim. Burn. Do we get it? Motherfucker. Piece of shit. Fuck you. Hibernation chamber key. Got him. Whew. Now let's get to it before what's-her-face does something drastic. Were these doors always open? I guess so, to release the bots. Oh, okay. So what do you think of that, Miss Sophia? Cool. That was just difficult enough that it was fun. Whew. Still breathing a bit heavy, but that was good. Anything more difficult than that, and I would be annoyed and frustrated. Alright. Fancy pants house now. What's all this? Very different aesthetic. This where she was watching from before, or something? It was with the stained glass. Huh. Okay, so this is through that other door. Alright, am I gonna finish this game finally? Let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm a-comin', Mr. Scientist.
Why won't you just die?
It's over 9,000! 9,000?!
Is that it?
The last of them!
Because you're still alive. Oh, what do we got? We got some stuff to steal here? Or look at? Should I let him go? Yeah, it's on film now. Hey, bud. You don't look so good. Alright. Glad you're not him. Let's go. And...
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough.
Are you alright? What do they do to you? Are you kidding? The board never stood a chance against me. You know I wouldn't let anything happen to you, Phineas. Do you have any idea how much trouble I went through to save you? Board never stood a chance against me.
All in a day's work for you, huh? You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated.
So the game isn't going to end now? Great, I was just about to pop open some drinks and celebrate.
I would like nothing more than to celebrate this victory, but we have a serious problem on our hands. Earth has
It's called
gone
DLC.
dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. I don't
frigate.
know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
So we've got to make do on our own. Seems to me that'll make us stronger in the end anyhow.
You're quite right. We've got no choice but to make do on our own.
You mean we're all alone out here? Really alone?
I'm afraid so, Miss Holcomb. Halcyon is the only home we have left. Returning to Earth is no longer an option. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own. Yes, certainly. I'll help however I can. You might have heard of the Earth Directorate's frigate. Half the colony's entire military was on that ship. They were returning to Earth when they vanished without a trace. That was 2 years ago. We haven't heard a word from them since. Whatever happened to Earth likely happened to them. Yes, Akande mentioned as much. Earth hasn't sent us a single message in 3 years. No one knows why. Akande had kept the truth to herself, perhaps with good reason. Can you imagine what would have happened if word got out? We'd have utter pandemonium.
A relay station.
Yes, you were the one who reactivated that relay station, weren't you? Any message from Earth would have arrived unencrypted. It's been 3 years since our last message. The board tried using drones to contact Earth. Every one of those drones sent back the same encrypted message. Earth is completely silent. I don't know what happened, but something must have gone horribly wrong. I don't know why Earth's gone silent. I don't even know if Earth exists anymore. We have no connection back to Earth, and return is likely impossible. We're completely alone out here. I heard it from Akande herself. She tried to pressure me into joining her side, you see. Tried to make me realize that all hope is lost, and that we are alone. She was half right. We are alone, and we're going to have to fend for ourselves, because there's no telling what's happened to Earth.
Know about the other colonists, Phineas.
I wasn't trying to hide the truth from you, but after all you've done, I owe you an explanation. Yes, I experimented on the Hope's colonists. Each of my experiments ended in catastrophic failure. Each of my subjects died in agony. You are my first and only success. I didn't tell you about the others because I didn't want to burden you. My failures are my own to bear, not yours.
With my current state of amnesia from not really knowing my past life, I forgive you, Phineas. But were any of those colonists related to me in the pre-frozen era?
I'm not asking you to forgive me. Lord knows I won't forgive myself. But I'm going to try to set things right. My apologies. I need to get a hold of myself. We've far more pressing issues to worry about right now. If you have any more questions, ask me. I'll answer as best I can.
I think that's all I got, looks like.
Yes, you're right. The road is long, and we haven't a moment to waste.
So is this credits, or is there still
process
more missions
immediately,
left?
Starting with the Hope's brightest minds, and then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us?
Somebody has to run it. I'm the only competent person left. You can count on me. I'll help revive. I'm going to do what I've always done. Whatever I want, all the time. Huh? Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening. I was thinking about getting some ice cream. Perhaps we should give it to Parvati or Max. I'll help revive.
I can't tell you how glad I am to hear that. When I revived you, I thought we were going to save this colony all by ourselves. But I was wrong. We can't save Halcyon on our own. We're all going to have to pull together somehow. We are not a colony anymore. Our last connection to Earth has been severed. I don't know if we'll survive, but we're going to have to try our best.
Arcus, destroy our utopian future.
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the Board's authority. But the Board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the Board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The Board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Sanjar's civil liberties and worker-centric policies were slow to catch on with the other corporations. But as Halcyon began its long, arduous journey toward recovery, many of Terra 2's smaller townships started adopting MSI's alternative corporate structure, and eventually became entirely self-sufficient. In the coming years, many of these townships managed to eke by, where otherwise they might have starved. Consumed by paranoia, Lilia Hagen took Sublight Salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing Board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever.
Oh goodness.
Time would tell if her replacement could keep the Sublight family
Was I the
together.
accident?
The collapse of Edgewater left its workers bereft of any purpose in life. Most of them made their way to Adelaide McDevitt's camp, hoping to ingratiate themselves into her favor. Adelaide accepted only a few to her community. The rest were turned away and likely died of starvation. Nevertheless, Adelaide's camp grew into a well-established town. Adelaide McDevitt refused to cooperate with the ongoing effort to save Halcyon from collapse.
So I made the wrong decision
A
there.
sympathetic deserter stole a copy of her research and delivered it to the Hope's scientists. It is unclear how useful Adelaide's research was. An optimistic estimate suggests her work may have bought Halcyon another few years of survival. Adelaide would never know. She died that winter. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising.
I like this. I like this recap.
The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the Board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs.
It was a dark time indeed.
Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective.
Oh.
She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly,
Oh yeah,
that
character
she just
recaps.
might need other people.
This is so great.
With a
Sometimes.
steady income from the life insurance payouts, She was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal.
Oh.
Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually
Grandpa.
decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker.
Yay.
And Parvati, enthusiastically if somewhat awkwardly, agreed.
Excellent.
The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name. And in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart.
That's awesome.
Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself.
Nice.
She formed the Charon Group, an MSI subsidiary of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail, or clearing an infestation.
Oh, that's awesome.
The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon?
I do now.
Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it.
Good.
As for
I don't
Dr.
remember him
Phineas
much.
Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. Though he was always haunted by the failures of his past, he was determined to make things right by building toward the future. The revival project was hard and painful work, but in the end, despite limited resources, over half the Hope's colonists were successfully revived.
Oh, good.
Even after Wells passed away, the Hope scientists and engineers worked night and day to pull Halcyon from the brink of collapse. Their efforts continue to this day, which may be reason enough for optimism. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Life will never be the same in Halcyon. It is widely agreed that the colony has a chance of stabilizing within a generation, owing to the hard work and determination of the surviving colonists. Recovery is a distant goal, and the path is long and uncertain. But the people of Halcyon carry on, determined as ever. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster.
How? I'm dumb.
The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you.
Oh, I'm so great.
No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this. The name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
Yip-cha. Excrement. Yeah, I very much enjoyed that. That was a very
cool.
good experience
Very
from top to bottom. I applaud this kind of game. Not too big, not too little, just the right size. A good chunk to digest and really process and really enjoy and delve deeply into. But yeah, it is over pretty quickly. So that was it. Outlanders. Outworlders? Outer Worlds, that's what it is. If the DLC deals with this whatever happened to Earth thing, then I want in. Otherwise, I'll probably skip the DLC. I don't really care. I almost wanted to go back and make different choices, but I really enjoyed the conclusion that I got. All the conclusions that I got. I don't really need to go back and check the different kind of endings. I got the ones I liked. The kind of endings I'd prefer. And I really enjoyed how they did the endings here. That was so gratifying. They rarely do that well in video games. Maybe that's something that has been happening in some of the newer games that I don't really care for, like The Last of Us type stuff. I don't know. I don't know if that does that kind of thing or not. But you don't see that kind of effort put into the backstories of each character and each faction and everything at the very end of the game. They usually just leave it at a couple of dialogues or a cutscene, but they actually fleshed out all the conclusions to everything that happened, and I appreciate that a lot. That really saved me. That really drew me in. Saved me. Drew me into the game. Lilu Multipass. Izzy Busy Bee. Lil Buddy. Okie dokie. Development weddings, nice. And development babies. Patrick Stewart, oh boy. Patrick Stewart was born on the Unreliable. That's cool. That kid's gonna have a cool story to tell. I'll have to read those obituaries after, because I was just talking through it. Ashley Birch, of course. So many names. So good. All the voices, well, I can't say all. Most of the voices were really good. I was a little worried once I saw the Skyrim or the Oblivion level face animations and body animations when you're talking. I was like, yeesh. But it turned out alright. This ain't no Horizon when it comes to the face graphics, but the style is just as good. I'm just as entertained and impressed. Even more so because of the colors on Monarch. That was amazing. I loved those colors. That's what I look for in a space kind of media. In space media, I want planets with wild, crazy colors. I wonder if I should look into No Man's Sky again. I can't remember if I traded that in again or not. Well, that's cool. I've finished this game, so maybe I can delete this game and reinstall either Psychonauts 2 and continue on with that, or just continue on with Destroy All Humans 1, but then I definitely use up all the space left for any games. I should have at least one big game on the system that holds me from using up all the video space, so that I can't have any games on the system. Know what I mean? Very satisfied with this game. It's like Darksiders 2. It's the perfect length. It's huge and long, but it's short enough that it actually finishes. It's not like Skyrim where it's like, okay, well, now I'm gone into cave number 366, and it's just like cave number 137. You know how it goes. Exploration is rewarded, but you don't feel like you have to finish a marathon. And that's refreshing these days. I never finished Witcher 3. It took me like several attempts to finish Horizon Zero Dawn and the Nier games, but the Nier games had their own little shtick going with those. At least since I'm finished with this game, I can set my controller muscle memory to learning another game without having to worry about going back and forth too much. I should start editing and sharing these videos so I can get that space back as well. More development, weddings, and babies? What's going on here? Didn't they already do that? Murder on Eridanos. I guess that's the DLC, but I don't have that, so maybe I should skip these parts of the credits. If I can. Alright. Cool. Well, I beat it. Should I try to see what other decisions I can make? Oops, my microphone was a little far away there. But again, I got the conclusions that I wanted. I don't need it. I don't need to see the other endings. I'll only be disappointed by any of the other outcomes. I got the perfect outcomes. The kind of outcomes I want. So good. So I'll remove this game, install something else, and start sharing. Outer Worlds. 8 out of 10? I'd say 8 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Could be more, but was a very fun experience.